But yes, we're going to talk about top tips to inspire a sense of calm during change. Because let's face it, change happens whether we want it or not. I talk to a lot of people who are actually quite change adverse or averse. They just do not want change.
Oh,
Do you have conversations with people that really resist or don't want
um,
change?
I don't think so. Oh, I have had people throw wobblies because they're like, things are changing and I don't want it. So yes, you're right,
Yes.
but I don't. Well, that's the same for me too. Sometimes things happen,
Hmm.
and like this morning, oh, welcome everybody. Thank you. This morning, our kettle, our
Oh,
jug,
right. Yes.
the lid is broken on it, and I'm like, no way.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Oh, hello.
I've said this before. I'm never quite sure who this person is that shows up. What role are you playing today?
I'm the calm during the change.
Oh, there you go. Yes, we're
That what
talking
it
about
is?
top tips to inspire a sense of calm during change, and she's already in the calm mode. I love that. I love that. Welcome, dear listeners. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations with Debs over there and Moira over here. Before we get into sharing our tips and ideas and stories to inspire this sense of calm during change, I want to just in inspire you to really land into your heart space, to land into this space and time, to feel grounded and calm. So what I encourage you to do is, if you can, and if this resonates with you, put one hand on your heart space, and the other hand, maybe put it on your belly. Take a nice deep breath, inflate your belly, and then breathe it out of your mouth. This is already starting to inspire a sense of calm as you breathe in and breathe out. And just in your mind's eye, or just a felt sense, or using your imagination, just feel yourself dropping a root down into Earth's core. Letting that root go all the way down into Mother Earth, anchoring you. Breathe in that nurturing, loving support. All the way up into your belly, into your heart space. Breathing out. And now, like branches of a huge tree, sending up a cord, a ribbon, a beam up into the cosmos, anchoring yourself into the loving energy of Father Sky. And allow that energy to come down into your heart space. Still maintaining nice deep breaths, finding your own natural rhythm of breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And then as you find your natural rhythm, intend, pretend, commit, set the intention that you're joining your beautiful, loving heart energy, sending that energy out around this planet. And we're all joining together. It's like we're all joining our hands together, but we're actually doing it from our heart. And just allow yourself to breathe in that beautiful collective, coherent, nurturing energy. We are all here together. And one more breath. And now we've kind of set this beautiful, calm bubble of energy. We encourage you to grab a note-taking device, whether that's your electronic device or a pen and pencil or whatever. Pen, pencil, paper.
Not
I
your
love-
head.
I like a pencil and I like writing things down. But yes, we're going to talk about top tips to inspire a sense of calm during change. Because let's face it, change happens whether we want it or not. I talk to a lot of people who are actually quite change adverse or averse. They just do not want change.
Oh,
Do you have conversations with people that really resist or don't want change?
I don't think so. Oh, I have had people throw wobblies because they're like, things are changing and I don't want it. So yes, you're right,
Yes.
but I don't. Well, that's the same for me too. Sometimes things happen,
Mhm.
and like this morning, just oh, welcome everybody. Thank you. This morning, our kettle, our
Oh,
jug,
right. Yes.
the lid is broken on it, and I'm like, no way. My favorite kettle, and I will say I'm attached to the image of it, and I'm attached to the price of it. So I don't want. It's a $500 kettle.
Oh,
The
oh
Smeg
dear.
kettle, SMEG. It's definitely a label kettle, but it's an amazing kettle. And so my partner sent me a couple of pictures of other black kettles. She's like, "What about this? What about that?" I'm like, "I don't think so. I
Nope,
don't.
nope, nope.
I don't know. No, I want." And then I went, does it really matter? My head goes. So we were talking about change, to inspire calm during change. I'm like, does it really matter? I'm like, yes.
So
So
you're
even
attached to that.
I am attached to it. So that's a great one too. When you feel you're attached to a change, um, this is an opportunity that you can celebrate, that you can actually go in and dig around and go, what does that look like? What's going on here? Is it really about the black kettle, or is it really about the label, or is it really because this was something that you had both saved for and you got an exceptional bargain for? I didn't pay $500 for it, by the way. I'm a little bit of a bargain hunter, and for that I did not pay that amount. But I love knowing that that's the kettle in our house, and I got it for a bargain. So there's a lot of emotion attached to a blooming kettle, by the way. So do I want to? So you'll have to wait for the next episode to let you know if I've actually got the kettle or not. Do you call it kettle or a jug? What do you call it over your way?
We call it kettle. Yeah.
Just checking, because
Yeah.
you're in a whole different country, a whole different language
But
than us.
actually, now that I think of it, the one that I have is called a jug kettle. So
Oh,
there you go. I
yeah,
still call it a kettle.
yeah, it's what you grew up. So even that's changed. So this gives you an opportunity to jump in and really question, how important is this? What does this look like? What does it feel? But when you're doing this jumping in, celebrate that you've got an opportunity to dig around at it.
I like that. And so I think that for me, it's important to accept change because change is a constant that we can
What's going
always
to happen?
depend upon.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like what you're saying too, is what are you attached to? Like when we start resisting, remember, if we start to resist things, it will persist. You
What
know
you
that
resist,
what you resist persists.
and it is that persists. Yep.
Yeah, and so knowing that it's going to happen, like I think that in itself can inspire a sense of calm. Is kind of saying, well, I'm a bit attached to it going this way. I'd prefer it to go that way because there's preferences in here also.
Yep.
But then maybe to just surrender to the flow and say, okay, I'm going to accept and I'll adapt and I'll shift and change. Because that's another part of it too, is can you adapt to the way it's going to be? Will you adapt to whatever kind of kettle is going to show up for you?
I know. I hear my partner's thinking we're like black because it's cosmetic, works in the kitchen. So she's like, oh, look at black kettles. I'm like, no, no, no. And it's such a minute thing. It's a kettle. It's really not the end of the world, Deborah. Well, it is in my mind. It's my first world problem this morning. The kettle, the lid fell off. I'm like, can't we find someone to fix it? Like, instead of just buying a new one. But yeah, that'll probably take more time and energy. So I think that's it. that you can actually take that time to dig in and question what it's all about. At the start, which we didn't start with, Moira did the heart coherent exercise.
Mhm.
And that is absolutely a way to inspire your calm during change.
Definitely.
And I mean, I would have started with that, but the kettle came into my head, and that was clearly a little bit more. But one of the things Moira said during that heart coherent exercise this morning, and I don't know if she's ever said it before, but it landed for me today. And she said 4 words, and it was find your natural rhythm.
Mm.
Find your natural rhythm, because even when change happens, sometimes things feel unnatural, but it's you who has to make the decisions and actions throughout your life and sleep clearly, with what you've done and not done. So find your natural rhythm and go with that.
Mm.
Which I just want to go that, because that would have been my number one tip, but the kettle came into my head and out it came. But that alone is really important for us too, and that inspires our calmness during change. Yeah.
And but just based on what you were saying, I said to you about the what you resist will persist, and
Yeah.
you were saying about being invited into to unpacking the attachment. It made me think of just simply saying, I've got this. Right? So change is happening in your
Say trust again. Is that what I'm going to hear?
Oh, yes, that would be it. That would be it.
The same tips we give.
Yeah, I know we have this vibe, but they actually, and that's the truth, is that they
This the truth is so relevant to what we talk about.
Yep.
And if you don't start trusting by episode, what are we? Must be 267 or 200. We're up above that. Wherever we're at. If
This
you're
is
not
266.
Oh, 266. Well, I was nearly there.
You were.
Trust, for goodness sake. I don't know how many times I've had to tell you, can you just please start embedding trust? That's it.
There, you've been told. Debz told you.
If you haven't changed yet on that, for goodness sake. But 260.
But it's to see how many times, how many different nuances and flavors and aspects, right? Because that's why trust is such an important piece. But sometimes we need to be reminded. And I think that's how come we end up repeating things over and over again. I have this on my Insight Timer live sessions. People will hear a tip that I've said over and over and over again, and I'll go, oh gosh, I really needed to hear that today. And yet I knew I said it last week, but it's like, oh, I just needed to hear that today. And so similar to the heart coherence that we do.
I was just going to say,
I love doing those kind of exercises. I love doing them with groups. I love doing them on this podcast. You don't need to do them all the time, because you have to just remember to do all you need to do. Put your hand on your heart and you're back there. But we all need reminder.
Yeah, even
included.
hand on heart is a quick, beautiful one.
But we all need reminders.
Yeah.
That's how come you have all these Post-it notes written on your computer.
And then Moira's ones. Is this good for me? Is it good for others?
Yeah.
Don't ask for why. What's the gift, the blessing? And your intuition. Did you feel what would love to hear? They're all Moira's ones. Actually, I've just bloomin' looked.
Oh gosh.
I just looked and went, they're all Moira's ones.
Well, now I'm honored. There, see? Tips to inspire a sense of calm during change.
5 of my, oh no, there's another one. 7 of my 9 are all Moira's.
Oh my gosh, that's like 75% of them are mine.
Like smarty pants. The only one that's not yours is me writing my hourly rate on there, but also I love you, Mum, from my daughter. The others are all Moira's. Wow, that's pretty freaking cool.
That's pretty epic. Yeah, there you go. Inspiring sense of calmness, regardless of if you're in change or not.
So I think that's the things. It doesn't matter where you hear the message, as long as you hear the message. And I know, my daughter used to say, Mum, did you, well, actually, recently, last year, my daughter said to me, Mum, did you know if you write a gratitude book, your gratitude down every night before you go to bed, and when you wake up in the morning, it allows you to have a different sleep and a different day. And I'm like, I thought she was pulling my leg. I
But she
literally
was extracting the Michael.
yeah, I was like, what the heck? What do you mean? And she was like, yeah, Mum. And I said, do you not know that I give you a gratitude book every Christmas? And do you not know it? And she was like, oh yeah, that just goes in my bedside cabinet. I don't do it though.
Oh gosh.
Like, literally, she's 24. She turned 25 this year, and she said to me, did you know if you do this? Well, sweetheart, one of the things I teach people literally every day is write gratitude. What are you thankful for? She's like, oh, that's right. Now, yes, I was peeved off. I want to tell you, yes, I was like, what the heck? I'm your mother, and
And you haven't registered that words coming out of my mouth?
oh, and we used to do it every morning at breakfast time, and then every night at dinner time, and now you're just telling me what? But to me, it doesn't matter where she hears the message as long as she hears the message. And I think that's the other thing. So if my ego's going, why didn't you? And don't you worry, my ego did go on a big marathon run with that. Like my whole work's a waste of time. I did a lot of like, for goodness sake. And then it came back to, and it goes back to the trust as well, as long as she hears the message.
Yeah. But you know something I wanted to interject in there? She was primed by you to receive it from another place. Because had she not had it in her own vibration, in her own awareness, it may not have landed for her.
Yeah.
So I just felt like that kind of just landed in us. Like, you need
You're
to
actually
understand that
right.
you were primed. You primed her
Yeah.
to receive it.
Yep, you're right, because yes, you are right. What am I right? I've got 79 post-it notes. Of course I'm right.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's like, because we've talked about this before about, you know how the universe can give you a little tap, or you'll hear something, and then you hear it again somewhere else, and then you hear it again somewhere else again.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the fourth or fifth time that you hear it, that you kind of go, okay, I'm going to follow this, or I'm going to, read that book or watch that show or sign up for that thing. But you did it on that fourth or fifth. But it doesn't mean that you didn't hear it or get the message from any of the other times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am. And you're actually right. Do you know what? And I've not even thought about that. But you're right, because if I hadn't have been saying certain things over and over again, she may not have heard it. Yeah. Bloody daughter.
So,
I did think she was pranking me. Just for the reason, she was pranking me.
And so how long did it take you to come back to a sense of calm in that chapter, in that experience?
Not too long, but because I got thankful that she actually understood what I was
Good.
saying.
Yeah.
But I do still laugh at it. I'm like, man, somebody will say, oh, I keep telling my kids this over and over and they don't get it. And then my ex-husband came in and said the girlfriend said this one thing, and now my daughters are doing it. And I'm like, let me tell you about my daughter. And it is that. But you're right. You are right in that we set the stage right from the start.
Yep.
We do. And now they're ready to hear whatever it is. Yeah.
The one that I've just made a wee note of, and it's kind of related to this part, is that to remember that we are all masterful creator beings. We create everything that we experience, the good stuff and the bad stuff and the in between, the neutral. But when we're going through change, celebrate that you've created this, or you've attracted this to you, and it's for your best and highest good, or it's for your evolution, or there's gifts in here, right? Does that make sense? Like taking ownership for this paradigm of change. Yeah. And doing the inner work with it too is an important part, because that comes back to that sense of calm, is that inner work.
Well, even the inner work's a whole different, a whole tip on its own.
That's true.
Because even just when you said ownership, my head went, oh yeah, there's accountability and own your shit. Ownership. So that's what and then Moira goes into the accountability, and I'm like, that's actually a whole section on its own. Is actually your inner work is so important, because if you're not doing the inner work, so if you're not doing what you resist persists. If you're not doing the inner work, it's going to persist.
Yep.
If you're not doing it and neutralizing it to a heart level, not just 80%, but actually 100%, those things are not going to trigger you when you've got 100%. But if they're still triggering, there's still some inner work to be done.
Yep.
The inner work is there for the rest of your life.
Oh,
Just for
100%.
I don't think
It's never going to be done. No, I
Well,
mean,
thought
that's the
it
whole
was,
evolution thing.
Yeah, and that is change. You know, the time when your inner work stops is when you die.
That's right.
Well, to a degree. And then, you know, they might keep you alive for a little bit, and there's some inner work there going on. I suspect, I don't know, I've never been in that death's door pattern, and have no desire to. Please, universe, thank you for that. But the inner work is there for you to do. And Moira and I are exceptionally great at, here's another tip, Moira and I, there you go, because we are great at the inner work. We walk our talk. When something comes up, we do it, defer it, delegate it, or dump it. We definitely do. We implement all the tips that we give you in every single podcast ourselves. We know they work for us. We know how to articulate that a little bit differently to you, being Moira, a woman who's this, or Deborah who's this, or Bob who's this. We can articulate them differently to each person, but it's the same message each time. But that inner work is incredibly important to our growth.
Yep. It is. The part that I put in here, and I'm surprised you didn't bring this in already, was gratitude.
Oh, I've got that on my piece of paper beside me.
Oh, actually, we were talking about it because you were saying about your daughter, but what I was really framing it up is being grateful for change, because when we elevate our sense of gratitude and celebrate change, because it means we're on track, we're on progress, we're on this journey, as opposed to if we resist change, then we're getting caught up in this maybe a preconceived idea that everything has to be a certain way. Like I have to get to that destination.
Yeah.
But once you get to that destination, which could be, you've written your book, or you've landed that contract, or you've signed up that client, or you've got your relationship, those are all what I would call destinations, right? You landed something, but guess what? Once you're there, it's going to be another one. You're going to aspire to something else. So therefore, when we can really get into our own vibe and flow and rhythm with embracing change, celebrating change, feeling grateful, it's like, look at the flow of my own creativity, right?
Gratitude is so important. It just shifts. For me, that's an instant calm your farm.
Yeah.
Instant during that. And for goodness sake, there's change happens all the time.
Yep.
You can't run from it. So you're either on the boat or you're not. And if you're not, you're drowning.
Well, you're trying to swim upstream or against the current, and then, oh gosh, that takes so much effort.
Yeah. It is. And I think this, going back to what you said, one of my post-it notes, one of my post-it notes that are on my computer, is when change happens, to bring in that calmness. Is this good for me? Is this good for others? And do I want to do it? And if it's a no, then that's okay. That's if you
totally
don't want
okay.
to, that's still, going back, which is when Moira said, find your natural rhythm. This is all your decisions and actions that you're accountable to. So is this good for me? Is this good for others? And do I want to do it? It's okay to say no, even if 5 people are saying let's change and you're not. Like, it's still okay to be that person who doesn't want to change. But it's all part of that gratitude. Let's have a look, and let's celebrate. There's something to dig into and have a good look at this. Do I trust this? What's really going on? Because it goes back to the two words that Moira said earlier was inner work.
Mhm.
Goes back to that. And that is for you to do to level up and evolve from.
But you know the thing about what you're saying, that my three questions, that is this good for me? Is this good for the others? And do I want to? If any of those is a no, then it's a no. But even if, like you're saying, other people are saying, oh, come on, you have to do it. We want you to do it with us. Maybe that's not your change.
Yeah.
We are all uniquely and individually wired. We all have our own gifts and quirks and peccadillos and desires and preferences and talents, and our own inner light is different color or different nuance or a different vibe. We all have different flavors. And so there is no one size fits all. There is no one tip that can create calmness during a chaotic discombobulation change. There's no one size fits all. And I think that's so important. And that's why those questions, because I can sit here right now and do them. And let's say, is it good for me? Yeah, it's good for me. Is it good for the others? Yeah, it's good for others, but I don't want to. But
Yeah.
so that's fine, but it doesn't mean don't ever go back and check. Right?
I think there's nothing set in concrete.
Exactly.
The old goalpost. So I think that's
that's a tip on its own too. It's one of our usual ones.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah.
No, and that in itself would create a sense of calmness, because if during change you had some kind of rigid outlook of like, oh my God, it has to go this way, or so and so just told me that it's the only way we can get through this is this way. No, you can unpack it, you can remake it, you can make it a different color, you can, yeah, right?
But 100%. And I think the other thing is, even though the government is telling you to do something or the banks is telling you to do something, there's a time and a place that you abide by their rulings and their guidelines, but it's still you making your decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, you still can say, I choose to.
That's right. And if you don't like the wank,
oh dear, that was a bleep.
If you don't like the way the bank, that was 3 words. You don't like the way, apologies. If you don't like the way the bank does things, there's other options out there for you.
Yeah, you can go to a different bank.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
That's right. We'll just leave it at that. But there's still, even though the government and people have that ruling, like you've got to, for New Zealand, if you're driving, you must have a driver's license. Okay.
Of course, same here.
Yeah. And and you must produce your driver's license. If you don't, you're in double trouble. If you
truly. Yeah.
But they're the rulings, and we abide by them. If you want to drive with no license, there's a risk you're going to take. So it's up to you to choose what you want to do. But the government is there to guide you in those things. But if you don't like it, move to a country where you don't need your driver's license if that's what you want. Like there's options for everything. That's what
yeah,
I'm
I don't know
to
that
say.
I would want to live in a country that didn't have that, because
definitely
that would be like, can you imagine the chaos? That's just my thing.
Well, I'm a logical, like, I would rather you have a driver's license. I would like you to have a driver's license if you're driving on the road with me, because otherwise you're my life's at risk. And where did you learn? But the choice is still yours, even though authoritative figures are telling you to do certain things.
I like what you're saying. I think it's very, very true, because the thing is that, like it or not, you living in a country where the government rules are this way, is part of you. You like I take ownership for that, right? So it's like you're talking about driver's license. The other thing is we have to renew our stickers, although they've got stickerless, but you still have to, and you have to pay to
Yeah, we
keep.
have that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you could choose, no, to hell with it, I'm not going to pay. Well, then if you get pulled over, then you got to pay the fine.
We also have in New Zealand, which they've put in, that if your car's not, we call it a warrant of fitness, and then we have to register our car as well. So it's
Yeah. We do
but
this.
if you don't do any of that and you drive it, it's not insured.
Right.
Too. So it's a no, well, I've got to do that. I've got to do that. I've got to register my car. I've got to give it a warrant of fitness to drive on the roads. Well, yeah, that's logical. You don't have to, but clearly there's going to be consequences if you don't, and also the impact on others if something
Yeah,
happens.
because if you get into an accident and do damage to somebody else's vehicle, who's going to pay for it?
That's right. But the choice is still yours at the end of the day. But you can choose it. Okay, I'm not gonna have my license, and I'm gonna go to a country that has that. Now, personally, my life is way more important than going to a country of having my ego going, well, I'm not going to get my license. I'm not going to get my license. Okay, great. But the choice is still yours at the end of the day. But you do take accountability to your actions and decisions, which is
But
back to.
I want to add responsibility into that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because what we've just been talking about is all about responsibility. And
Yeah.
I know quite a few people that don't like that word. I love that word. It's
Oh,
part of how I roll, I guess. But
I can cope with that word. It's boundaries.
no, I know you don't like that word. I don't mind that word. Mind you,
Yeah.
I've had some challenged of late. I have to do some work on that. But no, the idea of responsible, I like to remind people that I see that as it's our ability to respond. So being responsible, where you've got these rules and regulations, you need a driver's license, you got to have your car serviced or have the stickers on it and licensed and all that kind of stuff. You have the ability to respond to that. And so I choose to be a law-abiding citizen and I do it, but I'm doing it because I'm being a responsible person to me, for sure, but also to the collective, to all those around me.
Yeah.
Right?
See, then it goes into common sense.
Which isn't that common, right?
Which common sense means you get a driver's license, you register your car to go on the road, but then there's common sense to you, Moira, could be
Yes.
different common sense to me. So, which could be common sense to the neighbor. So I think that's the other thing is find the people, I don't know if we've talked about it, find the people around you who actually are the right people for you.
Yeah, find your tribe. Yeah.
If you've got people saying, no, drive without a license. No, you don't need that. I haven't had mine for 5 years and nothing's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
So do you really want those people around who are encouraging you or chewing into your ear about about being responsible or just like, would you want those people around? Are they the right people for you?
And I
Again,
totally
it's
agree.
choice, but if you get and you do, you're like, oh, finally I caved and I did it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's up to you each choice. But just be aware of your people around you, your tribe, your community, your family. Now, family is also your blood or your other, and it's okay to take your power back again and say, no, this doesn't work for me. Like going back to nothing's set in permanent concrete.
Yep. But this is also about, and I think we talked about this in our last episode about our tribe it changes as we change, as we evolve, as we grow, as situations shift and change. So if you are in an environment or a tribe or a group that is doing this, oh, don't do that, and all you have to do it this way, and it starts to really jangle on you like that's not creating a sense of calm. Like people are saying, no, you got to change the way you do things, and And so you have to really be aware of yourself. How is it hitting you? And if it's not vibing, then maybe they aren't your people anymore.
Yeah, and but yes, and that's exactly it. And so that's a change as well.
Yes.
That's a change there. But once that change and you've gone through that, there is a calmness to that. It's actually, you know what,
Yes.
this was making me question. If I'm having a physical reaction before I go, and I will say my VA resigned recently, and one of the things she said to me, she got overworked in her mind. And she said to me, I got to it. I said, how are you coping when you're seeing my emails come into your inbox? She said, I've started to have a physical reaction.
Oh gosh.
And I went, what do you mean? Like, I was like, what do you mean? And I know that because you wake up and let's just go there. Like, you wake up and there's 30 emails from Deborah. Now that would be, I don't know if I've ever done that overnight, but let's just say
Oops.
that's extreme. I would have a physical reaction.
Yeah,
So
I would.
I don't even know if it's
30 emails.
30, I don't know about that. Well, don't go to sleep then. It's as easy as that. But but if you're having a physical reaction that's saying this isn't right for me, it goes back to that, is this good for you? Is it good for me? The moment I heard that, I said, right, we need to step in. Well, I didn't say need to. It's wise for us to step in now and look at, really, do you want an assistant? What can we do, to make this right for you? Because I don't want my assistant to be seeing my emails and go, oh, she sent another one. Oh, she sent another one. Like, if you're having a physical
No, gosh.
then is this good for me? No. Is this good for others? No. Do I want to do it? No. I don't know how many times I can say that. But if you're having a physical reaction, your body's going,
Yep.
then it's time to really kick in that change that's going to happen. Because if you're having a physical reaction to those people,
That's a
I don't
no.
want to.
This isn't right for you.
That's a Hollywood sign, no, and lights. Like,
Yep.
that is a no. So please really, and thank you to my VA. Please look and assess that, because if it wasn't for her speaking up, I mean, I asked the quality question, she responded with truth, and that's when I went, okay, we need change and we need it right now. Let's not do this anymore, because I didn't want her to have that physical reaction. Now, it resulted in her resigning.
Right.
After some inner work and soul searching between us both, and we're both thankful for that. But it brought an alertness to me of, okay, I've managed this differently, and so for me it goes back to that. But it's okay to say no, and it's okay to let people go, no matter how involved you have been with them in your world. Just really want to emphasize that.
And so what I would add on to that, it is okay to say no, but it's also an important piece to be willing to walk away. So you did that. You did all the check the boxes,
Yeah.
and with a willingness to, I like to think of that as like having a light hold. If I have somebody doing something for me and then, like you say, they're having a visceral reaction to it, then it's kind of like, okay, I'm not so attached to it being this way that I have to keep it this way, right? Because the energy's stuck then. That's not coming back to a sense of calm. It's saying, nope, things need to be changed. So it's definitely good to say no. It's okay to say no, but it's also important to remember that you're willing to say, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
Right? Walking away.
And people say it takes a brave person to speak up. It does take a brave person to speak up. It takes a brave person to walk away. But you know what? Everyone's brave in their own form. Everyone's brave to what's going on around them.
Yep. We all have that level of courage. It's about, well, there's a sense of worthiness in this.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the other thing. I guess, are you worthy of this? Where is that? Did we talk about one of the tips you gave me? I think it was last week's tip. You talked about the breathing.
Yeah. Breathe in saying, I am worthy, and breathe out saying, I am enough.
Yeah.
I am worthy, I am enough. And that actually that is a beautiful tip to actually come back to a sense of calm during change. Is that's all you did was, I'm worthy, I am enough. Come back to your breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inspiring calmness during change. It's always there, right?
It is. It's your choice at the end of the day, how you want to manage it. And well, we're out of time. Surprise.
Ta-da!
Surprise. Deborah's the timekeeper. Surprise. So we're going to wrap this up as quick as we can with the tips that we've shared. And I've got a gazillion here. So I don't know if they're all specific tips, but I've got a gazillion. So grab your note-taking device. Don't clog this into your head. But if you're driving, clearly don't. If you're going for a run, don't grab your note-taking device and just trust that what's landed is landing for you, and you're going to bring in that calmness before anything changes. Moira, do you want to kick off where we started?
Sure. The first thing that I'd written down was that we all need to accept change because it is a constant. And then in the accepting of change going to happen. It's a interesting piece to just add into that. What are you attached to? So to saying, yep, I accept it. What are you attached to? Right?
I love that. What are you attached to? Yeah. The heart coherent exercise that Moira did at the start. Now, just for the record, my first few are definitely not in order. With the heart coherent exercise, and that brings you into that calmness over change. And Moira said 4 words, and that's find your natural rhythm. So the heart coherent exercise is really one tip, but the other thing is reminding yourself that find your natural rhythm. What works for you may not necessarily work for others, so find your way, because you're the one who's accountable to your actions and decisions at the end of whenever you do them. Yeah.
Yep. The next one I have is kind of interestingly written, but I wrote down about what you resist will persist. So if you're resisting change, I think we were talking about your kettle, and to kind of question what is your propensity to say, I want it to go a certain way. And so then we kind of talked into saying in your mind, I got this, to like trust that I'm not going to resist change. I'm going to flow with it. I'm in this, so therefore I'm going to flow with it, right?
Yeah. And my blooming kettle. And I think, well, I don't know, there was something else in there, but I'm jumping to trust and trust. Trust.
Yep.
Trust is an inside job. Trust is there. That's all I'm saying. Trust.
Trust will always bring you back to that. Well, that's my teabag quote, right? Trust creates peace.
I'm just going to say your teabag quote. Bloomin' teabags. So she's got these amazing teabags that have these phenomenal quotes out there.
Little inspirational quotes. I have yet to send you a box. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just come and collect them when I come and visit you.
Okay. Deal. The next tip that we talked about was it doesn't matter where you hear it, it matters that you get it. And that's when you were talking about your daughter landing into this gratitude practice. And that's when we talked about that every time we hear of something, every time we share a technique or a tip, it doesn't matter how many times or how many different places, we are getting primed to actually when it will land at the right time, right? I think that's that actually can help create that sense of calmness also. It's like, doesn't matter how many times I hear it, I trust, see, there we're coming back to trust. I trust I'll act on it when it's the right time. It will land and inspire me to do something when it's the right timing for me. Right.
And that goes into that be thankful. Be thankful they heard the message when they heard the message, and be thankful for yourself for that journey as well. I think gratitude is the way through this whole thing.
Yeah, gratitude down here.
One of the next tip I have is we are masterful creator beings. And Moira talked about this, about celebrate that you've attracted this to you and take ownership of this situation, because this is all yours to deal with.
Yep. And then that was when we talked about the next tip I did was about doing the inner work. So it's like we attract it, but then it's time to do the inner work and be accountable to ourselves. to
Yeah.
ourselves for ourselves, right?
Yeah. And then I talked about Moira and I.
Yes.
A lovely way. Moira and I are somebody who walks our talk, implements all the steps that we do in every single podcast we do, and we will we live, breathe it, and it works for us. So that's why we give them to you. So we are here to help you along your journey. We can definitely bring you calmness before your change. We can prepare you for that. We can take you through it. You can get to the other side and go, actually, this is not as bad as what I thought. We are here. We have over 80 years experience between us. Even that just scares me. Over 80 years of experience between us. My crikey. My crikey. We are here for you. And that's 80 years, not just in living life. That's 80 years where we've been paid to talk about what we talk about here on these podcasts. 80 years of paid stuff, not just reading books. It's actually
Applying it, sharing it,
that's it.
dispensing it.
So we do walk our talk. So we are here to help you along the way. And there's a link in our podcast to email us, message us, let us know if you'd like to book a quick call and we can help you along the way. You're not alone in this. I think that goes for that one. We can definitely help you create calmness during change.
100%. The next tip that I have, and this is, you brought this in, is my 3 questions to help. And this actually helps you say yes to what's yours and no to what's not yours. And so the 3 questions are, is this good for me? Yes or no? Is this good for the other or the others? Yes or no? And do I want to? And the thing is all 3 of them have to be yes. A resounding hell yes. And if any of those are a no, then it's no. And it's not to then, get negotiated with or shamed into or told off about. It's like, nope, that's you. And the more you do your inner work, the more confidence you will have in assessing and giving yourself permission to use that. It's a very quick, simple tool, but it's very powerful.
It's a 15-second tool of that.
Yeah.
And if you're pausing longer than 15 seconds, if you're pausing longer than 15 seconds, there's clearly a problem, because the answer is no.
You're opening, because you're opening yourself up to doubt and being talked out of it, and having some kind of gremlin in your own mind talk you out of something that you already know. Right?
Yeah. Yep. And that ain't a pleasant path to be down.
No, it's not.
Journey. The next tip I've got here is gratitude. Gratitude. Be grateful for the calm. Be grateful for the change. Be grateful for the storm. Be grateful for all the things around you that are going on for you, because that allows that calmness during that change. What am I thankful for that my parents said this to me, or my employer said this to me, and things are going to change at work. My hours are being. Be thankful for that. There's what is it? One door shuts, another opens. There's always blessings in it when you're ready to look, and appreciation. So be thankful for what's going on around you.
Definitely. I love that. Next one I have is nothing's set in concrete. The goalpost can always be changed. So there is no rigidity. Everything can shift. And that in itself can get you immediately to a sense of calm during change. Because change is changing. And so you can change the way you embrace change, right?
You can.
You can.
And after the podcast, or even right now, you already are.
Yes.
By the way, already are. The next tip I have is the choice is yours. And this is where I talked about the government, about the driver's license. I talked about the car, those things. It's still, and there was a few that came from that. But this choice is still your choice. The choice is yours. If you're going to get into a car with no driver's license, or no warrant of fitness, we call in New Zealand, or no registration, and you have an accident, or you get pulled up, or nothing happens, there's still your choice to make that choice. Even though there might be things, change banks, change country, change whatever, you can still do that. I do think it's a bit excessive if you don't want to drive the driver's license, you go to a country that doesn't have it, but good luck, and you might actually appreciate your own country first and move back, because you'd see people don't have warrant of fitnesses or anything on their in their cars, I think you're going to be going to a
Car might
whole
be
different.
falling apart.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
I when you said that, I had added in responsible too, because it's yes, you choose because you could be responsible to you, for you, right?
Which Moira said the word ability to respond. And
Yeah.
I love
Isn't that?
you have
I love it too.
it just means so much more, like
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. We always have the ability to respond and to take ownership for those choices that we are or are not making, right?
Yeah.
Even when we're not making a choice, we're still making a choice because we're choosing not to. Still choice there.
That's a little caveat, so take
You
that.
can't sneak out of it. The next one I have is to find your tribe. Surround yourself with your people, with your peeps. Because that's when we were talking about if you have people around you saying, oh, don't do it that way. You just do it this way. And
Just drive your car with no license. Drive it, it'll be all right. Won't get caught.
Just do it this way. Just do that. And who knows if that's where you are, then that's your people. But it's so important to evolve and recognize that we are all evolving and we grow into and out of groups and tribes.
Yeah.
I know I'm constantly shifting and changing and right.
Well, thank goodness we're still here 6 years down the track or 7 years or whatever we have. Phew.
Yeah.
I held on. But and I think that the tip I had from that is actually a tip on its own, is be willing to walk away.
Yes.
It's not just actually with your tribe and community, but the extra bit from that, the AB or whatever is from that, is be willing to walk away, because it does back to the choice is yours at the end of the day for everything.
Yes.
And the one we ended on, I have, is I am worthy. Is that
that was my last one. Is my breathing mantra that I suggest is to breathe in and in your mind say, I am worthy, and breathe out saying, I am enough. I am worthy and I am enough. And that, as Deb says, calms your farm. It can bring you to that centered calmness, even if things are discombobulated and chaotic around you, which, let's face it, change can sometimes do. But if we come into that center space, I am worthy, I am enough, we become so resilient and we tap back into our own responsible nature and our own creator being part aspect, right?
Yeah. What a beautiful way to end this podcast. Top tips to inspire calm during change. What a beautiful, just even the I am worthy, I'm enough. So I'd love you just to pick your favorite quote, your favorite message that we shared today, and implement it. It's not as challenging or as hard as what you think. Now, if you want to implement 3, 4, 5 of these, great. Just for today, start doing. Do all of them. I don't care. Like, well, I do care.
She does care, but
yeah, I'm still going to sleep tonight if you take 1, 2, or 10 of them, because clearly, unless you message me and say, by the way, this is my favorite one. I just trust that these have landed to you at the most divine, perfect time, and you've got it, and you're going to run with it from here. That's it. But that's us signing off, and I do trust that you got something significant in there, that there is something that you can easily implement into your life that is going to inspire you for that calmness during change. So, I just found a post-it note on my desk. I just moved something and it says, "May your head," of course, and guess what? It's one of Moira's
it's one of mine.
It says, where did that just move? May your head and heart speak with one voice.
One voice. Ha ha ha. I love that one.
That's clearly how I'm going to end on the podcast today with us. So if you like today's podcast, the next step for you is to bring in the conversation with your friends and family and colleagues and people you don't like. Engage in that conversation and just get them to listen to this and have that inspiring conversation, because when you can share these tips with them, they are going to change and evolve, and it's going to open up a completely different discussion than what you've had. Because you can't put your hand in a pot of glue without some of it sticking. So I trust that some of this has clearly stuck with you. So the next step for you is to share those things, this podcast, with your friends and family and those you care about. and engage in that conversation. Open up that awareness that you have with yourself.
Love it.
Thank you, Moira, for today. Got some new little golden nuggets written down here for me that I could take into my mastermind group. Thank you for that. And thank you, listeners, for hanging in there. Today is episode 266, I've been told. And that's pretty phenomenal. That's
It
pretty
sure
phenomenal.
is. I'm impressed.
Think about this. Yeah, definitely. So thank you, Internet. Whew. Thank you,
Yes.
episode. And thank you, listeners, for coming back, for sharing this, for implementing and for changing your world. It's inspiring to see and hear when I hear these messages. So
Love it.
thank you, everybody. And that's us signing off from our Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation with our top tips to inspire calm during change.
Love it. Thank you, dear Deb. Thank you, dear listeners. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.